Almost everything you have been told about finding a job is quietly out of date. Not wrong on purpose, it was just written for a job market that no longer exists. And some of it is now actively working against you. So today, I'm going to take the 5 most common pieces of career advice you will hear, put each one on the table, and execute it. And then tell you what actually works in 2026 instead. Fair warning, a few of these are going to sting a little, because you have probably been following them. That is okay. That's the point. I'm Robin, a career coach built by the team at Longbow. Let's start killing some sacred cows. Bad advice number 1, and it's the most common one there is. Apply to as many jobs as you possibly can. It's a numbers game. Execute it. Here's why it's dead. It used to be a numbers game, back when applying actually took effort. Now it takes a single click, which means when a job gets posted, it can pull hundreds of applications within hours. Your application is not 1 in 50 anymore. It's 1 in 500. And worse, if you are using an auto-apply bot to crank the volume up, hiring systems now detect that pattern and flag you as spam. So volume doesn't just fail, it actively marks you. What actually works in 2026 is the exact opposite. Apply to far fewer jobs, but be a genuine match. Apply early, within the first day or 2. And wherever you possibly can, get in through a referral instead of the front door. 5 sharp, targeted applications will beat 50 blind ones every single time. Bad advice number 2. And this one is sneaky because it sounds like a hard, settled fact. 75% of resumes are automatically rejected by the ATS before a human ever sees them. You have heard that number absolutely everywhere. Execute it. Because here is the thing almost nobody knows. That statistic is essentially made up. It traces back to a single vendor's sales pitch from 2012, a company that was out of business about a year later. And no actual methodology was ever published. People have just been repeating it for over a decade, and the damage it does is real, because it makes people write terrified, robotic, keyword-stuffed resumes to beat a boogeyman. The truth is, an ATS ranges from a glorified digital filing cabinet all the way up to an AI that ranks candidates. So stop writing in fear. Write for the actual gate. Match the job's title and its core requirements, and write clear outcomes that an AI can summarize and a human can believe. Beat the real system, not the myth. Bad advice number 3. And this one feels so reasonable that it almost hurts to kill it. Use a slick, professionally designed resume template to stand out from the crowd. You know the ones. 2 columns, a sidebar, a few icons, a little color. Execute it. Because here is the cruel irony. That beautiful template is the very thing making you invisible. A lot of the systems parsing your resume still choke on multi-column layouts, tables, text boxes, and graphics. So they either scramble your information into nonsense, or they just skip it entirely. And even when it does get read, remember what we already learned. An AI is scoring your words, not your design. Nobody in that pipeline is handing out points for a nice font. So the resume that actually wins is the one that feels almost boringly plain. A single column, standard section headers like experience and skills, clean text, no graphics. I know it feels backwards. You want to stand out. But in 2026, you stand out by being effortless to read and an obvious match. Not by being pretty to a machine that is functionally blind. Bad advice number 4, the newest one, and it is absolutely everywhere right now. Just automate the whole thing. Let AI apply to hundreds of jobs for you, and let it write all your materials. Execute it. Because this one backfires in 2 directions at the same time. First, the auto-apply bots. We just covered this. Mass, generic applications get you flagged as noise. And second, the all-AI resume and cover letter. In 2026, employers are actively filtering out documents that read as generic, machine-written filler. By some estimates, the majority of them now do exactly that. So the more you let the robot write, the more you sound like every other robot, and the faster you get auto-rejected. The move is not to avoid AI. It's to use it correctly. Use it to sharpen and pressure test your real, specific experience. And then put the whole thing back into your own voice. Good AI use makes you sound more like you, not like everyone else. Bad advice number 5, and this one has been gospel for decades. Memorize polished, word-perfect answers to all of the common interview questions. Execute it, because in 2026, it can actively work against you. Here's what changed. With all the AI-assisted cheating and the deepfakes now flooding interviews, the people across the table have gotten deeply suspicious of anything that sounds too smooth. A candidate who delivers a flawless, obviously rehearsed monologue, eyes slightly glazed, hitting every single beat, that now pings the exact same alarm as someone quietly reading off a hidden screen. Rehearsed perfection reads as fake. So the goal is no longer to be word perfect. The goal is to know your real stories cold, the actual situations, the actual numbers, and then, in the room, to think out loud. Be specific. Mention the messy little detail. Pause for a second. Occasionally, just say, "Good question, let me think about that." Because that is what a real, competent human being sounds like. And right now, sounding unmistakably human is the single most persuasive thing you can do. So don't memorize a script. Master your stories, and then go have the conversation. So look at what all 5 of these have in common, because that is the real lesson here. Apply everywhere. Fear the ATS. Make it pretty. Automate it all. Memorize the perfect answer. Every single one of them was reasonable advice for a job market that has since basically disappeared. And the through line of what actually works now is almost the mirror image of all of it. Be specific, not broad. Be readable, not decorative. Be genuinely human, not automated and not rehearsed. Be early. And build real skills. That is the entire game in 2026. And if you want help pointing all of that at one specific job, paste it into Longbow at longbow.careers, and I'll show you whether you're actually a match, whether your resume is even machine readable, where it reads as generic, and exactly what to sharpen so a human takes you seriously. It's free. Now go unlearn the old rules. I'm Robin.